Hello and welcome to my music homework. So we're going to be talking about how composers actually make the music and how they make it sound really good. But to do that, we need to actually know, listen and understand how they did it. We're starting off with the wonderful John Williams. He is the composer for Jaws. He's also written Harry Potter and several other things. We'll be back on him in a bit. We're next going to see Brian Tyler. He wrote the Super Mario Bros. Film, very popular amongst younger children. We're also going to understand how Kristen Anderson-Lopez and Robert Lopez wrote the actual. They didn't exactly do the background music, but they wrote and composed the really famous Frozen songs, such as Let It Go. So we are going to be looking at all that and so much more during this hopefully short piece of audio and video. Moving on, we're now going to look at when and how did music first start being added to films. It first started being added to films when really in the 1890s, and it was first done by either a pianist or a whole mini orchestra and it started off in silent movies. There are loads of popular ones and can be very entertaining if you do watch them. Next we're going to look at how different instruments scores even use different instruments and sounds and bands to make their music better. We're going to be using Jaws and Super Mario Bros. Again in this. So how does Jaws really uses the orchestra really well? With it's how those two keys just make up a lot of the film and a lot of the tension. Super Mario Bros. Uses choir really well because of how it is actually made and how it's meant to look with all its fun songs. Super Mario also does it really well for pop bands, jazz bands, and even electric sounds, just because of the vibe and how it actually goes. Super Mario Bros. And Jaws are two very different scores, so they're not going to sound the same, but they are both done really well of how they've used it, and that's what makes them really popular. So next we're going to be focusing on musical elements that might might and have made these two films which has made Jaws really good. So the instrumentation, it's like the entire full orchestra, but it has like an entire full orchestra, but mainly made out of small low strings, so it can really make the thing really well. But the actual shark thing is actually done by a piano, I believe. The pitch is very low, it has to be very low for the shark. The rhythm is very steady, but it's really repetitive, so it gets in your head, and when you hear it, you just think of Jaws and nothing else. The tempo gets faster the closer the shark gets. I believe you don't actually see the shark, but you know where it is by the tempo and how fast it is. The dynamics, it can be rapid shifts from slow to big explosions and really loudness. There isn't really much silence. There's always something going on other than dramatic or something comical sometimes. The texture is really thick and layered, so yeah, it's really done well, and it's one of the best ways you can do it, especially like this. I'm now going to go on about a different type of composer, such as video gaming composers. The next one, the one I'm going to be talking about is Daniel Rosefield. He is known as C418. He is a German musician and composer, best known for creating the sort of atmosphere for Minecraft. He was influenced by many electric artists. He was introduced to music production by his brother Harry, who went by C818. The nickname C418 was actually came from his brother, so he took a lot of inspiration from his brother Harry. Rosenfield was introduced to Marcus Persson, the creator of Minecraft, through the indie game community TIG Source. He was given creative freedom to craft a soundtrack that was ambient and immersive, aiming to sort of enhance the game's atmosphere without actually distracting the player. The music was composed using Ableton Live and synthesizers, I think, like the Moog Voyage. Tracks such as Minecraft, Clark, and Sweden, known in the game as Calm 1, 2, and 3, were among the first created, sort of setting the tone for the game's soundtrack, if you will. His music plays randomly in the game, contributing to sort of like the immersive atmosphere. For the game's sound effect, Rosenfield actually employed the Foley technique. So he basically recorded everyday sounds to create the game's audio landscape. For instance, he used the water hose to sort of capture the spider sounds and recorded himself jumping into snow for other effects, which is really cool how you can do that, and it sounds so cool. He voiced the zombie voices while he had the flu, which really shows this hand-on approach of being someone who does that, and it's so impressive of how you do it, and it's a lot of that. Him taking it that far can be a lot of things that set people back, but when you do it, it can sound really, really good, and it just shows how committed you are to the whole thing. In 2025, the original Minecraft soundtrack was actually introduced into the US Library of Congress National Recording Registry, which is super impressive, especially for artists who started so small. He's grown into so many accomplishments and recognised in cultural and historical significance, and it's so impressive how he has manually by himself done that, and how he hasn't let other people sort of push him out of the way, even when Minecraft, since Notch sold the game to Microsoft, he hasn't been able to work on it anymore. Since that, he has since resolved it and actually made his own music for not just Minecraft, but for himself. I believe even releasing an album, which just shows how far he can go and how impressive he is.